What happened?
What happened to our theme music? Yeah.
There we Hello, everybody. My name is Ahmed Dents, Development and Artistic Associate here at San Diego Repertory Theater. As you are coming into the room, welcome to We Are Listening, produced by San Diego Repertory Theater in partnership with the Old Globe Theater and La Jolla Playhouse. Again, my name is Ahmed Dents, Development and Artistic Associate here at San Diego Repertory Theater. And I would like to introduce to you my co-host, as I can get my camera straight here. I think that'll do it. There you go. You can see me now. Again, my name is Ahmed Dents, Development Artistic Associate here at San Diego Repertory Theater. Thank you for joining us. As you come in the room, please make sure that you have your camera off and your microphone muted as we go ahead and get into our conversation. We are going to introduce you to our spectacular guest in just a few moments. But right now, I want to bring on the camera my co-host from La Jolla Playhouse, Jacole. What is going on with you?
Hey, everybody. Hey, Ahmed. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to this conversation we're going to have tonight. We got a spectacular guest. I know it's going to be a good one. Everybody's in the room again. Thank you for joining us. One more reminder, please make sure you turn your camera off, have your microphone muted, and we're going to get into a couple of announcements before we get into our conversation. I want to make sure I send you over to the oldglobe.org, one of our partners here. We are listening. Make sure you check out what's going on there, especially Hamlet on the radio. It will be, you can listen to Hamlet on the radio through June 27th. You can listen to it on KPBS 89.5 FM. Of course, written by William Shakespeare, directed by Barry Edelstein. Make sure you get on over to the Old Globe, get your tickets or access to that, and check out everything else they got going on. And Jacole, what is going on around over at the Playhouse way?
So exciting to be able to talk about this because I always come on and I'm like, check out what's going on in our digital wow content, which is still true. Go ahead and check out lajollaplayhouse.org to see what's going on as far as digital content. But y'all, we are transitioning back to real life. We have lots going on. Well, one, since we're looking at it right now, the pop tour is now available to stream. Pick Me Last is available for free for schools and families and educators. I'm a little biased, but it's so cute, y'all. It's so cute. It's reminiscent of all the things that we love about kids television. It's accessible, it's smart, it's funny, it's touching, it's endearing. Check out Pick Me Last, available to stream now. But more exciting than that, we're coming back to real life. So our first piece, we do have some spotlight on classes, lots of classes that are going on for adults and youth, but 1000 Ways, part 2. This is our first in-person offering. Many of you may have experienced 1000 Ways part 1, a phone call with a stranger. This is a moment to connect with a stranger. So we have 1000 Ways part 1 coming up in June. In July, DNA is back. The DNA New Play Festival, New Works Festival is coming. That's not on the website, y'all, because this all was just announced. This was just announced in the UT today that we have DNA coming back up in July. We have a little pop-up WOW festival coming up at Liberty Station in August. It's going to feature some of your favorite local performers. And then starting in September, we got a season, y'all. We're coming back in person, live, just announced 3-show season this year, kicking it off with The Garden by Charlene Woodard, then going into To the Yellow House by Kimber Lee, and into Bang It Like Bhangra, our new musical that is about the competitive collegiate Bhangra circuit. There's going to be Crossing Cultures, Finding Self, Finding Belonging, just a really, really beautiful piece that we're so excited to present, but kicking it all off with The Garden by Charlene Woodard in September. That's what's going on at the Playhouse. Ahmed, what you got at the rep?
Everybody head on over to lajollaplayhouse.org. Check out everything Jacole just talked about. It's exciting to get ready to come back, right? Isn't it exciting
about coming back? We about to do theater.
We are getting ready to come back at the rep as well. We will be letting you know what's going on as we get ready to announce our season. Right now, it's really exciting here in the theater. Rick Salinas is in the house. Herbert Seguenza is in the house. Sam Woodhouse in the house. They begin filming today, 57 Chevy, which is going to be our virtual offering that is going to be coming to you soon. It's really exciting to have the energy back in the theater house. is something that's really been missed. I want to talk to you about some things that we're offering you right now. Coming up on June 15th, a spectacular play called The Catastrophist. You definitely want to check that out. It is very timely. It is a story about actually a virologist. So it is very timely as we are winding down the lockdowns and things that we're in with the pandemic. Right now, you can check out the 28th annual Lipinski Family San Diego Jewish Arts Festival, 15 virtual live events. Head on over to strep.org. It will be streaming until June 23rd. Also coming up, this is something I'm very excited about. Our Stay and Play book club is coming up. We'll be having this book club on June 14th, and we will be talking about, so if you want to join and you haven't read it, you don't have to read it to join, but I suggest you do. We will be talking about James Baldwin's The Fire next time. Very timely piece. It's going to be a spectacular production. I'll be moderating that conversation, and Ramel Wallace will actually be leading that discussion. So we want you to go ahead and join us. And that is something that is part of something that the Rep and the Playhouse are part of. And I'm talking about the San Diego Black Artists Collective Say It Loud Juneteenth Festival, virtually online, June 13th through the 19th. Head on over to San Diego Black Artists Collective.com/say it loud. I'll drop the link in the chat in just a few, but there are a lot of partnering theaters here. This is San Diego Repertory Theater, La Jolla Playhouse, Diversionary, Moxie, New Village Arts, partnering up with the San Diego Black Artists Collective to bring on what is going to be a spectacular Juneteenth festival here in San Diego. Again, head on over to San Diego Black Artists Collective.com. We'll also start throwing links on San Diego Repertory Theater's social media pages, as I'm sure the Playhouse, Diversionary, Moxie, and New Village Arts will as well. So make sure you head on over to the oldglobe.org, lajollaplayhouse.org, and san diego rep.org to check out everything that we got in the kitchen cooking for you coming up. And with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and get into what we came here to do. We are honored to have a spectacular guest joining us tonight. We know we're going to have just a spectacular conversation. You have seen her on stage. You have seen her on film. Right now, she is the new artistic director at the Lorraine Hansberry Theater in the Bay. Please welcome to We Are Listening, Margo Hall. How you doing, Margo?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. Happy to be here. Happy to hang out with y'all. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us. And first and foremost, before we get started, I know we're going to touch on it, but congratulations on becoming the new AD at the theater with such a historic name, the Lorraine Hansberry Theater. We'll get into that for people who don't understand the significance of Lorraine Hansberry in just a bit. We just want to say congratulations to you. We like seeing this Black excellence and Black woman magic happening up there in the Bay. We all about it.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Well, you know, our tradition is, as we always say, anybody can read a bio, but we like our guests to tell us and our audience a little bit about themselves. So if you could, give us a little bit of history as how you got into the performing arts and theater and entertainment and how we got to the Lorraine Hansberry Theater today.
Yeah, sure. So, I was born and raised in Detroit. Detroit, Michigan is my hometown. And my mom was very into the arts. So I was enrolled in dance school when I was 5 years old. Tony School of Dance, Black-owned dance school. I grew up in a really Afrocentric community, Black community, all Black high school. We used to joke that we only had two white people in our high school and they were twins. So that was our joke. But so, Black power, all of that. We were the center and are the center of the universe. So it was a very exciting childhood. And then when I was around 10 or 11, my mom remarried and she married my stepfather who worked for Motown. So I was raised by a man who was the producer and arranger for the Supremes. And I performed on stage with the Supremes when I was a little girl. Temptations were like my uncle. So I had this, rich life being surrounded by these amazing artists. But to me, they were just working artists, because they worked hard. And just like anything, it was feast or famine. You know, my dad was a jazz musician, one of the best well-known jazz artists out of Detroit. And so I was always surrounded by music. I was always surrounded by art, all kinds of art, visual art, dancers, singing. My first play was done at the Langston Hughes Theater when I was like 12 or something like that. And so you would think that I would go to school to be an artist. However, my mom had it set in her mind that I was going to be some type of doctor. So I said, well, I'll be a dentist. How about that? So I ended up going to the University of Michigan, you know, pretty good financial package, scholarship, blah, 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 to be a dentist. I was there for 2 years and I said, I don't want to be no dentist. What am I thinking? And so my last semester, I just took all theater courses, acting classes. And I was like, Mom, we gonna make that move. And of course, at that point, she was like, oh, that's wonderful. So I was like, okay. So I transferred and went to school in New York, actually in a Garden City, Long Island, a school called Adelphi University. And the best thing I can say about that university is I met Public Enemy, and they were like super dope. And they used to do rap at our school when nobody, you know, early on in their career. And so that was my thing. I just hung out with them. And then I decided at that point, you know, I didn't feel like I knew enough of the art of acting because I was fighting so much at that school. I'm very militant. And so I said, I need to go further and learn more. So I got my master's degree at Catholic University of America in DC, and was there for a while at Arena Stage, is where I got my first initial chops, and was in a little company there. And then I got married, moved out to California, to Berkeley in particular, and came out here in like 91. Since divorced and just started, you know, a career. And I got hooked up with this amazing group of guys, and we formed a company called Campo Santo. And Campo Santo is this gritty, multicultural company we started in 94. And we just did plays that nobody else wanted to do. We had a little 70-seat theater in the Mission District, and they're all 3 Latino brothers and myself. And we just rocked the community because we did it our way. We did not have a hierarchy. It was just the 4 of us. And we just did work by Octavio Solis, Naomi Zuka, Jessica Hagedorn, all of these writers of color that would just come to us because we did all the plays everybody was scared to do. And we're still going strong over 20 years. Campo Santo, Sean San Jose, who just became the artistic director of the Magic Theater, is my Campo brother. So we're basically taking over the Bay Area right now, all with the roots of Campo Santo. So yeah, so that's kind of what my life was in the Bay. And then I started branching out, working at the larger theaters, Marin Theater Company, ACT, Berkeley Rep, blah, blah, blah. And pretty much built a pretty prolific career. I worked at almost every theater in the Bay Area. I've been doing it here over 30 years. You know, doing well, freelance, but there was always that issue about doing the work that I wanted to do. And I was always afforded pretty much the opportunity to do, you know, work by Black artists, but I didn't do it in Black theaters. And so that was always a challenge for me because you wanted to applaud the Black playwright and say, do the play wherever you can. But at the same time, some of those spaces weren't safe spaces. So yeah, that's a little bit of my history. And here I am now, the artistic director of the Lorraine Hansberry Theater. And do you want me to talk about how that happened? That transition?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
okay,
go
cool.
for it.
All right, so
it's your show.
So, you know, we were, you know, COVID hit, shut down, and all the stuff was happening. George Floyd, and what landed on my heart was what's going to happen to the Black theaters, because unfortunately we will fall first because of funding. And I thought a lot about that, and a group of us, few folks, we got together and we said we need to go and do something for the Lorraine Hansberry Theater. So I walked into the Lorraine Hansberry Theater on Zoom. Basically, we said, what can we do? I came in as a volunteer. I said, this time is hard right now. So I want to put my energy towards you. And I just want to offer my services. Stephanie Schaffner is the managing director. And she was like, oh, sure, come help us out. And so we started thinking about, is there any type of productions you are trying to do over Zoom? What can we do to help? And basically, Stephanie said, can we go for a walk? And I said, sure, And we went for a walk, and she said, we are looking for a new artistic director, which I knew they were because they had an interim artistic director. And at that particular time, I was coming to a moment of clarity, I think, when a lot of people were spinning and confused about, oh, everything is shut down. Of course, I was emotionally drenched. I was going through this moment where I said, what am I called to do? What is my energy? Where is it the most useful? And I said, right now, I'm not giving my energy to the PWIs, the predominantly white institutions, if y'all don't know. I'm going to a culturally specific institution and giving everything I have. And so Stephanie said, I started telling her, well, we need to do this and we need to do that. She said, we. And then she said, so does that mean that you're interested in coming on board? And I said, yeah, let's do it. And so I decided that I wanted to give my time, my energy to the Lorraine Hansberry Theater. Now, I've worked at Lorraine Hansberry Theater several times in the past. I've done co-productions as a director, as an actress. So I've had a relationship with them for many years. When Stanley and Quentin were the artistic directors of Lorraine Hansberry Theater, I was working at Lorraine Hansberry Theater back then. And I had been asked before, but I wasn't there yet in my career. I felt like I needed to do more in the circles I was working in. And then I felt like, yeah, now I'm ready. I'm ready to take on that helm and that responsibility of running a theater called Lorraine Hansberry Theater. And just giving my energy to that cause. And I also, during that time, started a GoFundMe for Black theaters across the United States. I was just in a meeting and I was like, we need a GoFundMe for Black theaters across the United States. I don't know what that means, but let's do it. And a group of us came together and we had a big Juneteenth event and we raised $143,000.
Wow.
And since then, we have dispersed that money to over 10 theaters across the Black theaters now across the United States. And so that, again, that summer for me was just full of energy, ideas, and change. So that's how I ended up where I am now.
Sticking with that just for a second, can you tell me how important it is to be working at that theater with Lorraine Hansberry's name on it? I think people really, some people know her as a playwright, some people don't know her at all. But, understanding not only was she a playwright, but how much of a fixture and staple she was during the civil rights era, like hand in hand with James Baldwin and Malcolm and Medgar and all the, can you just tell me what that means to you to be at the helm of a theater with her name on it and such historical value?
Yeah, and I'm the first female artistic director of the Lorraine Hansberry Theater.
Mm-hmm.
And Lorraine Hansberry was a nationalist. Okay, she wasn't playing. She was in the streets, bold, queer artist who set the groundwork for so many movements that we have today. I mean, you know, she was rocking with the Africans. She was talking about international terrorism back in the day. It wasn't even just about the United States. My book, one of my favorite books, Imani Perry wrote this incredible book, Looking for Lorraine, The Radiant and Radical Life of Lorraine Hansberry. And soon as I got the position, I got that book. My managing director actually put it on my front porch. And it's kind of my Bible, because there's so many insights into Lorraine Hansberry that is outside of Raisin in the Sun, which was, you know, phenomenal. First Black play on Broadway by a Black female. But Lorraine is so much bigger than that. And there are conversations with James Baldwin, Langston Hughes. There's beautiful stuff in this book about her relationship with Nina Simone. I mean, these folks were having the conversations you wish you could have been a fly on the wall. And so for me in this position, there's so much I have to do in her name. And one of the first things that I am currently working on right now is an initiative called New Black Voices, which is a mentorship between emerging Black female and femme identified artists and established Black female femme identified artists. And I want to have this mentorship for a 1 to 2 year mentorship where you pair up 2 Black female femme identified artists, and they work together on a play, but they work together on communion. They come together as Black women, because I meet a lot of folks, young folks, who say to me, Margo, you're my first Black teacher I've ever had, because I teach at UC Berkeley and Chabot College. And they say, I've never had a Black professor. And I'm like, excuse me? Okay, so that means you've never had someone that you can see doing what you want to do with your life. You've never had someone that you can talk to about what's happening to you in this educational system. So to me, the beauty of a young emerging Black female femme identified playwright being able to pair up with somebody like Dominique Morceau, you know, Naomi Kelly, Issa Davis, Lydia Diamond, Lisa B. Thompson. I mean, how phenomenal is that? And when I've talked to the playwrights, they said, I don't know if I had a Black mentor, you know? So it's time for that. And that is coming from Lorraine Hansberry, because she's like, it's time to highlight our young Black women, our older Black women, our Black women, female femme identified folks, because the world wants us to destroy us, you know? So we're coming forward to use the tool of art to bring those voices forward.
When you first volunteered your services, did you know what you were doing? Did you know what you were getting yourself into?
No.
What did you have in mind when you first showed up on Zoom?
I was just like, you know, all my friends say, you know, you always tell people what to do anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem. No, I'm just kidding. But I think I always had the instinct to make art. Okay, I love theater, and when you love something, there is an automatic instinct to know what to do. Now, what I didn't know how to do, and I'm learning to do, is produce theater. They're two different things, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm used to being on the stage. I can, you know, do the acting thing. I can direct. I can work on a new play. You know, I've worked on a lot of new plays. I've written a couple plays, but the art of producing a play. So so learning that is what I'm doing right now. And also learning how to build a team. It's in, you know, we have a small theater. It's two of us. It's me and Stephanie, and we do everything. And so we're at a point right now where I'm like, we have to build this dynasty. This is our opportunity. We are architects of this moment. So we got to figure out how to get funding. So that's a whole nother thing, fundraising, so that we can hire a staff, so that we can build this legacy. So those are the things I'm learning. And I'm excited about that. The other stuff, I feel like I got, you know, I know how to get folks in a room. I even know how to talk to people and raise some money. But the concept of putting on a play now, I'm learning that, and that's really exciting. Yeah.
It is exciting making that. I mean, and you will always be an artist. Obviously, you emanate it through your pores. But how is that trend? Because people, same. I'm a director and a producer, and people, it's left brain, right brain. It is. Yes. It's hard to shift our artist brains into this very logical lane. How's that transition for you?
It's good. I have big ideas. And I have my managing director going, that's fantastic. How are we going to pay for it? And so, you know, it's like, and I'm trying to find that balance, because I don't want to dampen what's inside of me. You know, right. I don't want to scale down without exploring opportunities to scale up and learn how to pay for it and how to produce it. And it's going well for the most part. You know, I think it gets a little frustrating. We don't have a space right now. So I'm like, how do we do theater? We don't have a theater. So, and not that I haven't been there before. I mean, Campo Santo, we had our little small space, which eventually we moved out of. And then since then, we've been pretty nomadic. So I understand that concept. But it's also like planning a season. How do you do that and not know where you're going to be? So getting those partnerships, you know, the very first play I did out of the box was Hieroglyph by Erica Dickerson Dispenza. It's an amazing play. If you don't know that writer, she's a young Black female queer artist who is writing a 10-play cycle about Hurricane Katrina. And this is the second play in the cycle. Really brilliant young playwright. And I did the play with a co-production with SF Playhouse, which is a theater company in San Francisco that I've worked with before as a director and actor in a co-production with Lorraine Hansberry Theater before I got in this position. So we got together and we filmed the play live on stage. And we presented it over Zoom as a live, you know, a live filmed performance. So that was a way that I found to start to make connections with other theater companies, you know, co-producing in a way that Lorraine Hansberry Theater is spotlighted. And that's my big thing, right? Because a lot of theaters want to co-produce with you. They're trying to enhance their audiences. They want us to be a part of it because they put it on their website, right? And my whole thing is, that's cool, but when we get back in the theater, we premiere the play. We are the leading party in this situation. It is no longer in collaboration with, no, Lorraine Hansberry Theater has decided to collaborate with you. And in turn, what are your resources? Because you probably have a lot more in the bank than we do. So let's call on that too. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for finding space and continuing to figure out where we're going to land when everything opens up.
I want to ask you a question, because I saw it in, you know, just hints coming from the theme of this show. We talked a little bit about it earlier, where I watched you in an interview where you were saying how people, they don't want to identify themselves as this artist, they don't want to identify themselves as this type of artist, and you were like, no, I am a Black artist. I am like me and Jolla, we're blackity black. Like
Yeah.
you are a Black artist. Can you explain to us and to everybody who's watching why that is so important to state that so emphatically for those who don't understand or might be scared to state that themselves?
Exactly, right? Because to me, I feel the most alive. I feel the most valuable. I feel the most connected when I'm doing art that is written about my people, written for me. There's nothing like it to be in a play with all Black folks. And I have no qualms with people understanding that that is my preference. I'm excited about being a Black artist. I think it is a profound statement. Every time I get to walk on stage, I make a statement. I am a riot within myself. I get to go on that stage and teach the truth about who we are. And I have no shame around that. Bring me everything Black, okay? Because that's why I'm here. I don't necessarily find myself in a Chekhov play. I just don't understand that. That's great. Love Chekhov, do that. But give me Dominique Morceau, give me August Wilson. That's what makes me sing. That's what fills my heart. And that's where I'm my most authentic self. So I am so glad that I was born the way I was and that I have the rhythm in my pocket. And I am so proud to always give me a bullhorn, baby. Because I am blessed that I get to be this person and be Black in this world and in my community as an artist.
Well, and I want to continue on that because you touched on this a little bit earlier. And I want to go back to it. The difference between what it felt like to do Black art in a Black theater versus doing a Black play at a predominantly white institution, or doing, being a Black artist in a generally diverse play at a predominantly white institution. Can you kind of talk about that experience, why that is so different, or the different weight that comes with doing Black art in a Black institution for Black people versus in a predominantly white institution?
A lot of it is the audience. It's nothing like being in a space where folks are responding and they are able to respond. They're not being shunned. They're not being shushed. A space where when you can't wait for that line, when they're gonna go, oh, damn, right? You're just waiting, and when what's gonna touch them in their hearts. That they are just right there with you. There sometimes feels like a disconnect. I feel like I'm what they call the dog and pony show sometimes. And I also feel like I'm obligated to teach a white audience something. I'm obligated to do the work. You need to learn, right? It's nothing like being in a space where you can spit a certain dialect and the audience knows what you're talking about, and you don't have to sit at a talk back where they go, I didn't quite understand everything you were saying. And it's like, well, yes, do you always understand Shakespeare? You pretend to. So pretend right now and listen, and then go read a book, So it's something about the audience. It's something about feeling safe. It's something about when the community, when the artistic director knows what it feels like to face racism. So when you're doing a play, or you're playing a slave, or you're doing something that is deep inside of you, that person who is paying your check, they know what you're going through. And they're going to find a way to comfort you in a way, hopefully that's coming from the heart. I don't care, you know, God bless everybody who's a different color. And I'm sure they do comfort you. They do try to find ways, but they will never know how to really hold you when you are out there doing the work that needs to tell the truth of our history and to tell our stories. And it's just something special about that. And I'm not saying that, you know, there's no issues in our culturally specific institutions. We all got work to do, right? There are biases in everything. But I can only say for me, Margo Hall, when I'm in that space and I'm with my people and they're in charge of what we're putting on the stage, it's a different feeling. I have, you know, had the opportunity, like I said, to work in several theaters, and I've done some amazing work by some phenomenal playwrights of color. I understand the work that they're trying to do, and, you know, God bless you, keep moving. You need to do the work. But I'm hoping that Lorraine Hansberry Theater will be that space that folks can come home to, you know, and be safe.
I want to switch gears a minute. I want to talk to you about Blind Spotting. Like, such a damn excellent movie. such a good damn movie. You know, you know, David D, like, just such a good movie. I just want to get your thoughts of, you know, what it was to work on that movie and to work with the crew you worked on, but then get your thoughts of the events that have transpired in the last year off of working. And for those of you who have not seen Blind Spotting, I suggest you put it on your list of movies to watch this weekend. If you have not watched it, it is an excellent movie. Please watch it. But can I get your thoughts about going into that movie, the process of working on it, and then your, like, some of your thoughts on what we've gone through in the last year and a half?
Sure. You know, I've known David and Rafael Casal for many years. David actually did work at Campo Santo. I played David's mother, sister, brother. So we've been working together for many years. And they would talk about this movie they were going to make, right? We're going to make this movie about these movers. And they're like best friends in real life, right? They grew up together. All of that stuff is real. And so we would be like, okay, yeah, you got your movie and everybody's going to be in it. And it was like, okay, cool, you know. And then, you know, David, he did the Hamilton thing. And we were just like, go, David, it's great. And Rafa's working. And then they were like, we got the movie deal. And so I was like, great, you know, not expecting anything. Like, I'm so proud of y'all. Y'all just doing the damn thing. And then they were like, but you're going to play David's mother. And I was like, okay. You know, again, people say stuff. And they were like, no, we're serious. And I said, oh, well, that's fun. Okay. So then I got involved in the film. And then I started reading the script and realizing what these two brothers were doing. You know, we call Rafa our brother. And I was like, wow, this is new. This is different. This is real. This is Oakland. And I've been in Oakland. I live in Oakland right now. I'm right here, right now on Ohlone land in Oakland. And it was just such a beautiful testament to everything they talked about ever since I met them, their love for Oakland, a testament to the gentrification that is happening in our town right now. We are going through so much right now in Oakland with the defunding the police, with our crime, with gentrification, with people trying to take away our iconic places where we get together and commune. So when they came out with that movie, people weren't ready. I don't think they really knew. And unfortunately, it didn't get its due because I agree, Ahmed, even if I wasn't in that movie, that is one of the best movies I've ever seen. So since then, and I don't know if I hope some folks might know this, but Blind Spotting is a TV show. It is going to be appearing on Stars on June 13th. And I am in the TV show.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so we shot that last year, starting in November, I think. And we just finished up this year, shot in LA and in Oakland. So yeah, that's coming out June 13th, Blind Spotting Stars, which is super exciting. So it's continuing. And I'm telling you, the series is off the chain. It's like the movie. It is like so different from anything you've ever done. They're risk takers and they're running it, right? They're running the show. I'm in there with them, and we're on this big lot in the set. It is David and Rafa, and they're just like, "Hey, yeah, run that again." I'm like, "Look at my baby." So I'm just so proud of them, and they're fierce, and they're just humble, beautiful guys, and that series is just gonna blow up. It's gonna blow everybody away.
And that's what happens when we can authentically tell the stories, right? When we can authentically tell. I was listening to a clip of Denzel in an interview the other day, and the interviewer asked him, why did it need a Black director? And Denzel said, it's not about color, it's about culture. It's about we know what the hair smells like when the straightening comb hits it. Like, we grew up, we know what that smell is, we know what that feeling is, we know what the reaction to these things are. So he said it's not really about color, it's about culture.
It's about culture. You're right. And it's like, why would you want to take on something that you don't understand? And if you do that, if you want to learn, take a back seat and be a co-director. If you want to be connected to something, because we're contagious, we're magic. So everybody wants a piece of us. Everybody, how you do that? Can I just get up next to you? It's like, that's fine. Sit here, listen and learn. Got some cash, throw it on the table, but let us run it. So it will be authentic. That's how you're going to learn the truth.
That's
so
right.
Yeah, it's nothing like that, right? That makes so much sense.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on, now that, and I know you touched upon it earlier, but it's a quote that's been running through my head. Me and Jaco had the opportunity to talk to Jeremy McQueen last month, and he's just, we've all been going through these things, looking at what the theater, not just the theater community, corporations all around have been going through in this last year. A lot of corporations and people and organizations making statements that we didn't ask them to make, or doing things that we didn't ask them to do, or maybe, trying to be woke to impress people, regardless of what. But, Jeremy McQueen had said this term of, he had used the term of performative allyship. What are your thoughts on the industry right now as we're getting ready to open back up? And, just what are your personal feeling, or what are your thoughts as many theaters getting ready to open back up? What is your outlook on how many theaters will actually, really stick to those changes that they said that they would, or those aspirations that they put out publicly?
To be honest, I don't care what they do. I'm not messing with them. I have decided my focus is on Black theater and Black and culturally specific institutions. I don't know what they're going to do. I feel like they're going to make attempts, and some of it will be genuine and some of it won't. But I can't worry and stress on them right now. I got so much work to do in my circle, and the things I want to accomplish. And I also think, there's a difference between an ally and an advocate. And there was this thing, there's a young lady who climbed up the pole,
right,
to pull down, right? And
right.
And they said, well, we're just going to put some electricity through this pole so that she has to let go. I mean, she won't die because she's tethered, but she will have to let go. And there was a white man, this is the story I heard now, who walked over, and instead of him saying, no, no, don't do that, he put his hand on the pole.
Mm.
So he said, okay, shock me too. That's an advocate. That's a disruptor. So there are a lot of allies. God bless you. And I appreciate you. But are you an advocate? And are you willing to say, right now, I need to be an associate artistic director, and I want to hire a Black artistic director and give them the support they need to do the work that I want to do, because I'm so enthralled with this work. I don't know what they need to do. It's just like, I mean, I don't want to go into it, because I'll start trying to figure out why this particular theater is doing a musical about a Black movement. But anyway, it's like, I have never been concerned about the white gaze, Gaze, from being a child. I never cared about what they think. I never cared about them liking me. And so it's really hard for me to speak on what I expect them to do, because I'm going to do my art, and I'm not going to deal with what they want to do right now. And I hope they do things, but it's a part of me too that's just like, leave us alone. Give us the money to do what we want to do.
Now, Margo, you've got my head swimming with so many like visions and ideas and things. And this thing that you said, and I can't imagine how it would ever happen, but I would love to see it. The way that you said these white artistic directors, or these white directors that want so badly to direct the Black play or the whatever, the idea of, okay, great, be the AD, be the assistant director, and sit and listen. Because here's the thing, because you said, see, now y'all got me going. There's a time in every We Are Listening where you get me going. Because here's the thing, you said it right on the head. How are you going to direct this thing? How are you going to truly be the guide of this experience of a thing that you don't understand? But the problem is they don't know that they don't understand. They don't know. They think that they have the authority. Oh no! Well, I know how to direct a play. I don't need to know.
Right. I went to Yale. I know how to direct. Okay.
I know how to direct a play. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But here's the thing. If they would if they would hire the Black director and then be part of that experience, because I'm thinking, you got me thinking of all my times as an assistant director, and your job as an assistant director is to listen. Your job is to sit and watch the process and listen to the way that the director is interacting with the actors, listen to the vernacular, listen to the connection, and then every now and again, maybe get to write a note on a piece of paper,
a little note, right?
Over,
because
see what
you
they
have
think.
Ideas. There's nothing wrong with having ideas, and there are some really fantastic directors of every color.
Yes.
So yeah, but there are certain things you don't know.
Because here's the best thing about writing.
To assist.
Yeah, because here's the best thing too. You're right. Because some of those ideas, you're in the room. Some of those ideas are like, yeah, I get that. But the best thing is when you write that little note and slide it over, and then the director says, "Here's why that's not a good note.
Yeah.
Here's why we can't do that. Here's why that is not applicable to this situation."
Exactly.
And that is those were my best lessons in the room. That's how I learned kind of my vernacular and to listen or what have you. Is somebody telling me that's why this doesn't, not here.
Right. Somebody directing.
Yes, no, you go, please.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying they're just, going back to what Ahmed said, culturally specific things you don't understand. And for you to have the audacity to think that you can direct anything because you have a degree in it. No, honey, you're not from Detroit. You don't know what it's like growing up in a town where they've taken away all the jobs. Yeah, your grandfather may have had his job taken away, but he wasn't Black. And he didn't have to walk in the shoes of a Black man who has lost everything. So you don't understand that, okay? And it's just little things. It's little things. I was in a play, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves, and it's probably the silliest thing, but they never have stockings for us. Like, you want to do all these damn Black plays, and every time I go into a theater, you handed me some pale ass stockings. Will you get a stock of stockings for people of color up in this bitch? I mean,
I love that as a marker. That's how you know you're walking the talk. When you walk into the costume department, you walk into the dressing room, and there are layers of stockings of every shade.
And it's like, it's little, but it's big.
Yes.
And it's just things like that it's like, that's when you're creating a safe space, because you bring in someone and you say, what do we need right now in this space to make you all comfortable? You cannot put on a play about Black folks who are going through trauma and then throw them out into your white audience where they're like, want to touch your hair. No. You need to educate those folks, and you need to create space for us if you want to do our shit. So I'm sorry, I'm getting cussing.
No, do it. That's the shit. That's the show. That's how we do.
Yeah, but it's just, you know how we have so many little things, like being in a play where this woman told me, I was doing Trouble in Mind, which is one of the most brilliant plays ever written by Alice Childress. And this woman tells me, no, stereotyping was a genre. And that, no, Black people loved that work. I said, excuse me? She said, no, I'm blanking on the name. Give me the woman who won the Oscar, Gone with the Wind.
Oh,
Gone with the Wind, Black woman. Oh God,
it's at the tip of my tongue.
Hattie
yes.
McDowell, right?
Thank you, Hattie.
So
yes.
She was like, that was a triumph of her career, and she loved that work, and she did that work. And I said, first of all, shut up. Second of all, no, I got so angry with this woman. And first of all, I was like, why are you, white woman, directing this play? Anyway, so I said, have you ever seen the interview of Hattie McDaniel when she talks about how that was the most painful part of her life, when that woman slapped her over and over in that scene for real? She left the business after that. She did not come back into the business until there was a Black movie for her to be in. And that's the only work she ever did. So don't tell me she loved that work. Oh my God. That was a trying experience for me. But I educated that woman, and I told her, this is how we're going to do the scenes I'm in. I'm running this because I know. And I understand this culture, but I had that voice. There's so many young Black artists who don't know how to stand up like that, and we got to give them space, and we got to give them support so they know they can stand up in someone's face and say, are you out your mind? No, that's not what this is about. That's not what this scene is about. You don't get to tell me. Yes.
No, I'm so with you on this, and I work with a lot of the MFA students out at UCSD, and that empowerment is something that I try to instill, but it's hard to teach, because what has been ingrained in artists from the beginning is be grateful for a job. Somebody else is standing, somebody else is in line to do. But the onus, no, we get to pick and choose. And there's this, feast or famine. You know what? There's going to be famine, but you have your integrity. that is going to be a much worse off experience for you than being broke for a minute, because we know how to be broke. We're artists.
Yeah. But the thing is, that's a myth. And we need to work on changing that narrative, because if we all collectively come together, we will feast.
Yes.
But they tell us that so that they say your theater, your play will never be done. So it's like, let's figure out all of these culturally specific institutions, how we can get that money and we can get those plays and welcome our artists home. And, you know, I said that to my board. I was like, yeah, we're a small theater, but if I ask Dominique Morceau to come do a play here, I want to pay her what they pay her. We have to compete. Then there is no famine.
Yeah, yeah.
But we have to trust that we have the power and we will feast. And we have to keep continuing to just drive that new narrative. And I think we can do it. I really believe we can. And you know, because right now, we're the architects right now.
Yes.
We get to call in the funds. So we need to go after those funds. We need to let people know, if you want the truth in history, because they're taking it out, you know, they're trying to some Oklahoma has said you can't teach about racism in our schools. You know, it's a law now. So we have to fight to tell our histories. Because if you can't learn about the Tulsa riots in your school, who's going to teach you? The play is going to teach you. The theater is going to teach you. Film and television is going to teach you. They're trying to take that away because they don't want to see their truth. They don't want their kids to see the truth of this country. So we have to come together, and we can't be doing that in a theater that's going to ask us to censor something because their audience might be uncomfortable. Then don't do the damn play. Leave us alone. Do shit and make them comfortable. Okay?
You know,
and then don't invite me there, because I'm not going to make them comfortable. You know?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
It's so important. You know, it goes back to what, you know, you said earlier when we began this conversation. And, you know, me, Jacole, Freedom, our guests, we've had these conversations about, you know, but my most of my career, almost all of my career in theater has been an administrative side. And when I started working, there was very few Black administrators that I saw, even very few Black men. You know, if there were, the majority of Black administrators were women. There are even fewer Black men that were, you know, administrators. And, you know, that's changing. But like you said, like you were talking about your student who said they had never been taught by anybody who was Black. And it's just like you're saying, who, you know, we now occupy these spaces, but like we talk about, it's not important enough just to occupy the space, but it's enough, you have to be able to occupy the space authentically. You know, we, you know, me and Jacole and Freedom, we talk about this, that we're, you know, we're amongst this growing amount of people who occupy this space, but we occupy it authentically. We're not here to be a figurehead. We're not here to be the avatar for you. So you can just say, I have a Black person there. And then, no, you're going to look at me crazy in some meetings. And I'm going to tell you, like, nah, Black folks don't rock like that. And I'm not signing on to that if that's how you're going to represent Black people. I'm not here for that. That's not what I'm here for. And I'm not going to teach the next person who steps into this position that they're just supposed to sit here and just be the go along, get along gang, just to not, we worked to get here for that reason, because we saw what needed to change when we were in here. And so, you know, that's what we're here for now, is to make sure that the people, you know, that come up, you know, now we're in positions to where we can bring people in, and we have the eye to honestly look at who needs to be in this pipeline, who needs to be in this room, who needs to have experience in this space, because how can anything happen authentically on stage if it doesn't go from the board to the leadership to the staff? Like, how can you put anything Black authentically on stage and there's nobody up the chain in your organization that can help any change down the line to make sure that it's authentic all the way through to, like you said, having the right color stockings? Do you have somebody on staff to come take care of the Black women's various texture of hair? Do you
That's
have a
right.
lighting designer who understands what the
That's
light is
right.
going to do on these different shades of skin? Do you have any of that? Are you even thinking of
Right.
any of that? Now you got me going.
Now we got
That's
you
right.
going. But
it's
no,
so true.
even just
It's
even
so
working
true.
with the youth, this last class of MFAs, we had to film their showcase. And
Mhm.
there was a chance I'm one of the advisors for it. There was a chance I wasn't going to be there for filming. And the Black students in class, they were like, "Is there any way you can be there? We really want to make sure we're lit well, and that there's
Mhm.
somebody that is paying attention to how our skin is lit." And I was just like, "Yep, absolutely, I am there."
Yeah.
You need that. You would not have it otherwise. And that same group ended up being they make up the cast of Pick Me Last, this year's pop tour. And afterwards, two of those students said to me, the two Black students said, "This is the first time I've ever had a Black director, especially a Black female director, but
Right.
I've never worked with a Black director," and just how that changed their experience, just knowing that they were being taken care of on just an extra level, that they were being
Right.
out for.
Yeah.
And there's a phenomenon, since we're talking about the students and young people, phenomenal question just came into the chat from Pamela Shattuck. She said that some Black artists feel that they feel like they haven't arrived unless they're working at these big white institutions. That, we have that saying, that's how you know you made it. When you get to ba 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 ba, that's how you know you've made it. And there is this stigma, and we know this even within our community. Like, there's a little bit of, I ain't trying to work at the Black theaters. They don't.
Yeah.
I need to get reviewed. I need to get so and so to see me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, what do we say to those young people that think that they're not going to make it unless they're at these pinnacle white institutions?
Yeah. A lot of times you can work in these institutions, but it doesn't fulfill your soul. And what is success? Is what I always say. What is success? That you got OSF on your resume? But what did you do? Were you happy? Were you fulfilled? God, this woman had this great saying. She's a Desdemona Chang, one of the top directors that I know, Asian woman from our community. And she said something once, I know I'm gonna get it wrong, but she was talking about there's a big loaf of bread. We will all eat, but from them, you will only get the crumbs. Something like that. I don't know if that's right, but it's something to that analogy of that hollow feeling of saying, yes, I've worked at this space, and then that's it. They don't nurture you. They don't continue to put your work up. They put you up for, Black History Month, and you're the highlight. They put you on all of their brochures. But how often do they really call you? How often do they really use you in a way that continues your career? How often do they nurture you? And I don't have any magical answers to that. To me, that goes back to that idea of having white people like you. And if you feel that success at a white establishment is working at a white establishment is success, then I don't know what to say to you. Success to me is doing great work in an establishment where I'm in community with my people. And I think a check might be bigger. Okay. You can post it on Facebook that you working at ACT. That's great. I'm hoping that if you choose to do that, that you're really clear on what you will tolerate and what you won't. You're really clear on making a statement and making sure that you bring in somebody along with you. You're really clear on who you are in that space, and that you show up 100% yourself, authentic, and bringing your culture into the room 100%. I hope you do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, the like you said, it might be a little bit bigger of a paycheck, but what's going to fulfill you? And I think back in my family, I'm the only artist in my family. And a few years ago, working at the Reb, I wasn't making a whole lot of money, but there was a moment, there was this sense among my siblings that I was the successful one because I was doing what I loved. I was making probably the least money of all of us, but my heart was fulfilled in the work that I was doing. And so there was this shine of success. And then there was like, oh, I wish that money would come with your success. Will money come with your success at some point? And at some point, yeah. But what's going to fulfill you? What fills your heart as an artist? What makes you feel successful in your artistry versus maybe being third girl from the left,
right,
in the ensemble and 3 shows at OSF?
Yeah, and I in no way, everybody do what you want to do. This is your life. If you need a extra 0 on your paycheck because of what you need for your life, go for it. God bless you. Mm-hmm. But just fight while you're there. That's all I ask. Just make sure you show up as yourself, because the more that these theaters understand that we have a voice, then hopefully the more they will create safe spaces. So if you choose to go into those spaces, you got to have a big voice. And when I go into those spaces, I have a reputation. Margo's coming and she's not going to take any shit. And I will call you out and hold you accountable. I will call you out in front of your audience. I will call your audience out. But you know that you're going to get the best work because I'm going to do my job on that stage. So I just feel like if we are in these spaces, we need to be loud and bold. Yes. And continue to protect ourselves and take care of each other in these spaces. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. You got a shout out from John Pittman. He said you were his director in the production of Ragtime, and you taught him so much about being professional and understanding different communities.
Yes. Hi, John. Yeah, I love my students so much. I've been teaching over 20 years. And it's nothing like using that platform to educate people of all colors, and also being my authentic self to show up to dispel their myths about Black women and Black folks. And also giving them an opportunity to experience what it's like to be taught by someone who is in direct connection with the earth and their ancestors, to be taught by someone who brings a rhythm into that classroom. It's always a joy for me to connect with them and make them realize who they are, what's your authentic self. That is a big part of my mission, is teaching and mentorship. And I get nervous sometimes because, television calls, movies call, and it's like, well, what about my babies, And whenever I'm working in the theater, they all know Margo's got her teaching schedule and we have to work around it. Some people get mad. But it's like, I'm going to show up better here in this theater space when I can do that, because I learned from them as well. And then I got all of them to help you do this work that you need to do. So, and they're going to be the next ones. So it all has to work together,
Yeah. That's right. That's right. think that's the, oh, go ahead, Jacob.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say that is like the that is like the perfect sentiment, you know, as we get ready to wrap things up. You know, I think one of the things that we've taken away from being able to be on this platform is that we've been able to connect. We've been able to connect with so many other Black creatives and professionals that, you know, maybe we would have down the road, we don't know, but we know for sure that this platform has allowed us to, you know, connect. We've had young people who listen, who sent us emails, you know, young people who are in college, who have listened to the show, other, you know, other professionals, administrators, ADs, donors who have listened and have, you know, taken away, you know, really just priceless messages away from this. And this is like, how many of these are we going to call master classes now, Jacob?
I think we should just change the name of it, because it does feel like a master class series. I feel like I get an education in Black theater every 2 weeks on this show. But I want to know, what I wanted to ask Margo is, just because you do have such an extensive background as an artist, as a performer, movies, television. I mean, we got the show, you got Blind Spotting. So with all of the things, like, with this position at the Lorraine's Hansberry, will you still be able to perform? Will that still afford you the opportunity to feed your artistic soul?
You know, I probably not as much, because at least I know for this time, I gotta really focus on the vision for the theater and these crazy ideas I have. But yeah, I've had to turn down a couple directing gigs and some acting gigs. And that's okay, because I know that's why I decided to do this when I did. Because before I was like, no, I still got some stuff to do. Now, if Marcus Gartley comes at me with a play, then that's a different story. So, you know, there are certain playwrights, I'm gonna figure that out, you know. But I think for the most part, and what's been interesting is a lot of the other predominantly white institutions, like, will you come back? And it's like, not right now. So it's like really trying to focus on how I can do that work, but do it in a way that is really making a statement, and hopefully doing that work at Lorraine Hansberry Theater. That's the goal. That's the goal, to get those plays there. But yeah, I think I'll have a few sacrifices that I'll have to make. But the cool thing, when I was on Zoom, I could just fly down to LA, do my little thing, jump on Zoom call. I had my students in the trailer. I was like, okay, here we go. I got 10 minutes. Let's do this thing right quick, you know. So. Yeah.
Well, and you just mentioned it here, and you mentioned in your American Theater article that was about the transition, that there was a time before, years before, somebody had approached you about potentially being an artistic director, and you said no. How did you know you were ready? How do you know? How did you know? Now I'm ready to make this transition.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of, now I'm not crazy now, but a lot of voices. There were voices, there were feelings, there were thoughts saying, you have got to transition to a more impactful position right now. You are being called to do something bigger. And you know, it's not like Lorraine Hansberry Theater's, you know, $100,000 budget, but I'm being called to have a platform that is in a different way. It's just doing my work on stage, doing my work through the art. It's beautiful, it's strong. It's like, yeah, but somebody else wrote that play, right? But now I'm in a position where I'm being called into spaces like this, nationally, where I can not only talk about the art, but I can talk about the activism that goes with the art.
Yes.
And my sister asked me, she said, you know, are you ready to step into this platform? Because you got your foot in it. And it's even bigger than, okay, I'm running this theater. It's like I am have a voice as a Black female right now under Lorraine Hansberry, but it's like, are you ready to take the weight? And somebody was like, you got to take the weight right now. And it's a lot of us, right? It's so many women. And what's happened for me is it's actually opened me up to so much that's going on inside Oakland. I am a part of these amazing female activists, Black artists in Oakland, where on the 5th, we're doing a whole thing at Defirmary Park, which is a little Bobby Hutton space, called Black Women Wailing, where we are just going out into the streets and wailing for our dead babies and all this crime that is happening. I am working with a woman named Kat Brooks, who is responsible for the defund the police movement in Oakland. I mean, so again, I am being called for a lot of different things that sometimes when you're locked into 8 weeks of a rehearsal, which means 8 weeks of preparation for that rehearsal, which means a whole 4 weeks after recovery, you don't have time to come out and be in these spaces. So there is a reason, and I just felt that on my heart, like, it's that time. It's that time. And it just happened to be, now the good thing, I will say, is it was also a time when we weren't producing. So I could learn how to do that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you had dropped me in, yeah, you got 4 show season, right? So it was also a good time because it's like, now I can sit and think. I can have some time to figure out how we want to do this thing. I can talk about the mission statement, and I can get in here and massage this institution so that it is a cultural institution. It is bigger than a playmaking institution. It is an opportunity to do big things. And so that was a good thing about doing it at this time as well. Yeah.
For sure.
That's right. You know, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. We've had you
Yeah,
for
you know, because we be talking all night.
But we got to say this every time. We can end up sitting here talking for another hour if we just kept going. Like, we could just keep running our mouths.
I'm like, but next time let's do it over whiskey in the Bay Area.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, please. Hang out. Yeah.
Margo, we just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. I knew this conversation is exactly what I knew it was going to be. And again, I want to say congratulations for everything that you're saying. Like, you are the perfect person to be working under Lorraine Hansberry's name at that theater. And so I want to say thank you for joining us. I've thrown links in the chats of the Zoom call and on the Facebook page. I've thrown the trailer for Blind Spotting the movie. If anyone hasn't seen it, I've thrown the trailer for the television show that's coming up on the Stars Network. Congratulations on the AD. Congratulations on the show. We greatly appreciate you being here. And hopefully maybe later on this year, we'll check back in with you and we can bring you back and see how things are going and what's going on. And we just really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you who have been watching. Thank you to my spectacular co-host, Director of Arts Engagement and In-House Casting at La Jolla Playhouse, Nicole Kitchen. Make sure you guys head over to lajollaplayhouse.org. Check out what's going on there, to oldglobe.org. Also visit sdrep.org. Check out what's going on here. My name is Ahmed Dents, Development and Artistic Associate. That's my title for now. I think the next time I talk to y'all, I'll have some news for you about some changes happening here and how I can help do what we're talking about and really affect real change here at the Rep. So I'll say that for next time. So
all right.
Again,
can I say goodbye? I just want to say thank you. So great to meet both of you, and to be invited into this space. Hi, Armando, one of my other students who's also a very fantastic professional actor, is here. Love you. And also Intimate Apparel is happening as an audio production. Check out the Lorraine Hansberry Theater website starting on May 31st. We were supposed to do that play and then COVID hit. So this is our homage to Lynn Nottage, and hopefully we will remount that play in 2022. And so I just wanted to say that and thank you again, and all of you for hanging out with us. Yeah.
Thank you, Margo.
Thank you so much, Margo.
Jacole, thank you. I'll talk to you soon. All of y'all, we'll talk to you in 2 weeks when we'll have the founder of Crossroads Theater, Ricardo Khan.
Oh, Ricardo.
Ricardo will be joining us on June 10th. So we'll look forward to it. Everybody have a great Friday, a spectacular weekend, and we will talk to y'all soon. We are listening. Good night, everybody.
Yes. Good night. Many blessings.